You can choose your own way. Set your sights real high, don't you be dismayed. You got every damn right to live your life now.
Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Kirizal.
And I'm Alexea.
And today we are going to be doing some kinky personality tests. Should we have a smoke and then get started?
Yeah, kink is my personality.
Yeah, same. That's why it's all I talk about.
It's my only personality trait.
People probably actually think that from my TikTok, but when I talk about anything else, the video flops. So what am I meant to do? Okay, so we're going to crack on with the test. The first bit's dead basic information. You just fill out your gender, your age, your orientation, and the language you want to take the test in. I don't think any of that affects the results in any way. You can choose whether you want to do the full version of the test or the short version. We've done the long version before, so we're going to do the short version today just to get to the good stuff. You can also choose whether you want questions to be just aimed at people on your side of the slash, if you know you're just a sub or just a masochist, or you can do questions aimed at both. So for people who think that they might be switches or know that they're switches, get the full picture. We're going to do all questions just because it's quite fun to compare how different we are on some of them. So at this point we're just going to be going through and doing questions, and then if either of us see a question we want to discuss, we'll stop. I like receiving pain and seeing the result of it. Was that an orange for you?
It's a maybe, yeah.
Do you want to talk about that one? Should we do that as a talky one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is an interesting one. I like receiving pain during sex and BDSM and seeing the results of it. And it gives a few examples: marks, bruises, makeup running by tears. So it's a really obvious one for me, straight away. Like, I'm a huge masochist, so all of that is just perfect for me. But this one you've marked as orange, which is like second from the bottom. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a weird one for me. I don't enjoy pain in a traditional sense, I guess. But I don't mind when what I'm in certain scenes, what I'm doing hurts, because like it fits. So it's a weird one. It's not like I don't go out my way to be like hurt me. But
yeah. I guess for
it's
you,
like a byproduct of what we do.
Yeah,
especially like colouring and crafts.
No, it makes sense if it's like as a thing that adds to the intensity of the scene, where it makes it kind of feel more real and like there's some sort of backwards and forwards with it kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so this one, I like forcing my partner into submission much more than submitting spontaneously. That's another one that's going to be an obvious no for me, because I don't want anyone submitting to me. How about you?
Yeah, it's a weird one. You'd think, given like our dynamic and stuff, that it would be like all the way at the top, but it depends on circumstance. So like in the bedroom, yes, I really get a kick out of it. But on our like day-to-day dynamic, I expect the submission rather than demand it.
Yeah.
It's more annoyance for me when I have to get you to do the things that I want you to do.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very much.
Not that it happens, no. So yeah, it's more like I'm kind of in it 50-50 on that one. Depends on the situation. Yeah.
You can put that one down as a yellow then, in the middle.
It's very circumstantial.
Yeah. The scoring on this, it doesn't do it by numbers or anything like that. Everything's on a colour gradient. So a kind of hard no, absolute disagree is a red, and it goes all the way up to a really bright green, which is where you completely agree. And then there's yellow in the middle. So there are 7 colour options for each question, and you can put yourself somewhere between them. I think that's why my score varies quite a bit on this. Like, the things that are 100% or 0% for me always come up that way, but the ones in the middle do fluctuate a little bit, because it can kind of depend on my mood, how far in the middle I'll put something. I'm guessing it'll be similar for you.
Yeah, it's I find ones like this tricky sometimes, because they'll give you a broad statement like the last question we talked about. Yeah. And then it's like, well, it depends.
Yeah.
And it's tricky, because like some circumstances it's going to be all the way in the green, and some circumstances it's like, no, absolutely not.
Yeah. I'm willing to try anything once, even if I don't think I will like it. Where do you score yourself on this one?
Absolutely right at the top, green.
All
solid
the way
green.
up. Yeah.
As green as the sky.
See, this one, I think the word anything in kink context is always, it includes a lot of stuff. Like, there's some things that I've seen people do that I know without going anywhere near it that I wouldn't enjoy, and there's some kinks that I know are hard limits for me without ever having tried them. There's not a lot. Like, my list of limits is pretty short, but the things on there are on there for a reason. So for me, I would put it as like the one down from the top I think I would try almost anything once, even if I don't think I'd like it very much. But if I know I'm going to hate it, I wouldn't.
Yeah, see, for me, it's like I live my whole life by that attitude of just like, I'll do anything once and deal with the consequences later if I don't enjoy it. Like,
Fair.
it's, yeah, you've got to try everything. Can't knock it till you try it, as they say.
Being treated with little or no respect during sex and BDSM arouses me. So that's a really easy one for me. Like, I love a bit of degradation, and being treated like I'm worthless is always fun.
Yeah.
Yeah? How about you?
I'm very much towards the orange for this one because it depends on the scene, again, in circumstances. Like, day to day with a dynamic, absolutely not. And,
Yeah.
like,
I would get in trouble.
yeah. But in the bedroom sense, like, it depends on the scene. Like, colouring and crafts, it's good. It gets the gears going, but it's not something I actively look for.
Are we ever going to explain the colouring and crafts
No,
thing, or are you just going to
no,
keep saying it?
just gonna keep saying it.
Yeah, I agree. During that type of play, it's something that can heighten it and get you wound up, and I like your reaction to it. I don't like verbally degrading anybody, but I know that insulting you when we're doing that kind of scene will get me hit harder, which is always good. So you an orange on that one.
Orange.
Orange. Okay, there is no reason why sex would have to happen in private spaces isolated from the outside world. I think that's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think if everybody in the space is consenting, then it's fine, but then you could also argue that a space made for people to go and have orgies is also a private space for that to happen, so it's a difficult one. I think if it's consensual between everybody involved, including like people watching, then it's fine. I don't see a problem with it.
I completely agree. Like, I'm completely comfortable with watching and being watched, but I definitely wouldn't agree that sex could just happen absolutely anywhere. I think it doesn't have to be completely isolated from everyone, and it also doesn't have to be completely public. It's about, as you said, creating those spaces where it's set aside for that and people know what's going on. And do you class that as public or private? I'm not sure. So I'd probably put it as a yellow for me because it's a bit of an ambiguous question. Same for you?
Yeah.
I find the romantic aspect in a relationship much more important than the sexual or kinky aspects. I wouldn't put it as more or less important. I don't know about you, but to me, I think I need all three to be in a good balance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not all about one or the other. Like, I think for me, like, sex on its own is just, it's not an important thing. Like, it is to a relationship, like, of course, but like, it is what it is. It's sex.
Yeah.
But like, having all three in a relationship is really important, I think.
Yeah. For me, I don't think I would enjoy any of them anywhere near as much separated from each other, even if I had like 3 separate relationships to explore those in, where I had a romantic relationship, I had someone I had great sex with, and I had someone I had a dynamic with. None of those would be as fulfilling as having that all in one place, and I need them to be in balance for it to feel right.
Yeah.
So would we say in the middle maybe for that? Because of that. I love seeing the fear in my partner's eyes when they know I'm going to inflict pain on them. So that's an easy no for me, because I'm not hurting anybody.
That's definitely a green for me.
All the way up in the green?
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I can see your reaction to that as well. It's super hot. I could be sexually submissive now and be sexually dominant another time, either to the same or another partner. It's a big no for me.
Yeah, huge no for me as well.
Yeah.
I don't have it in me to be a sub.
No, and I definitely don't have it in me to be a dom. Like, when I was still figuring out my kinky identity, I've done a very little bit of very light play where I wouldn't even say dom in the scene, I was topping the scene, you know, a little bit of light impact and stuff. And it was quite fun, but it's not something that I could ever see myself going out of my way to get or actively seeking out in any way. It doesn't entice me the same way, it doesn't interest me.
No, and you don't have to be a top to be a dom, and you don't have to be a bottom to be a sub.
Yeah.
Like, there's plenty of AFAB people that dom, that don't peg.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Yeah, no, like, sort of topping in the sense of, like, penetration and stuff, I always do enjoy. It's not something that I want to do all the time, but it's something that I like. But topping in the sense of, like, doing sort of kink stuff to people, so, like, doing impact and stuff, like, I could be swayed to dabbling in that a little bit, but I would never see myself as dominant. It's more like, if someone's told me they want me to hit them, I'll hit them.
Yeah.
It's no big deal when things I try turn out bad for me. It's part of the risk, and it's a necessary part of discovering what works and what doesn't.
100% agree for me.
100%.
Yeah, like, and again, it's one of those things, it's not just kink, it's everything. Like, I'm very much act now, think of the consequences later. And, like, obviously don't do that with kink. I'm very, like, aware of the risk.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, if I do something that I end up getting hurt through or don't enjoy, then like it is what it is. It's all part of the learning experience.
Yeah. I think for me it depends a lot. It depends on how big the risk is and how bad it means by turning out bad for me is. Obviously with being a sub, there's things that I do where it going bad could be a trip to hospital or worse. So that's something that I do everything I can to avoid. And I think with some of the heavier psychological play, there's a risk of actual psychological damage, which is something I'm keen to avoid. I've got enough already.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd put it as like a middle green. Like, I'll try most things and I'll take most risks. Reasonable ones.
Reasonable risk.
I'd like my partner to submit to me 24/7 and I'm willing to take the responsibility that comes with it. Again, an obvious no for me, and I'm guessing a big yes for you.
Big yes for me, yeah. Because, well, I mean, it's already our dynamics like that anyway.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, this is what I really like in our dynamic, obviously from my side as the sub, is I really wanted that full 24/7 dynamic. And I like that this question mentions about the responsibility that comes with it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important for the dom to realise how emotionally vulnerable that can make the submissive, and how easy it is to take advantage of that level of submission, and taking responsibility for the sub's well-being is an important part of it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It comes with its complications from both sides. It's not as simple as some people have mentioned in your comments about me just being super lazy and you doing everything. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
That environment where one person in the relationship is super lazy and the other person has to do everything, and it's not through choice, is really toxic for a relationship. This is like a consensual, conscious decision. Yeah. But it does come with its issues as well, because it's like, on the funnier side, if I want something doing and I know that you're going to do it, I have to wait for you to do it. Like,
yeah.
On the funnier side of things, it's like, yeah, I could get off my ass and do it myself, but like, you've been told to do something, so you're going to do it, kind of thing. Yeah. And on the more extreme side of it, like, it's a big emotional toll on you, be having to do everything and like micromanage everything while also being micromanaged. Yeah. Like, it can be quite emotional tax.
I think it can be for both of us in some ways, because you have that sort of responsibility, and you're kind of the one managing things. You're the one with the decisions and the authority, which is a lot. The thing I love about being a sub is how few decisions I have to make now, and how little responsibility I have. I have a long list of things that I need to do, but I'm not really responsible for anything. I just have to do as I'm told. It's nice and simple.
Yeah, it's like decisions even down to like conventional relationships. Like, oh, we're gonna go out for food. Where are we gonna go? It's like, oh, we're going out for food, so now I'm gonna decide where we go. Yeah. Like little things like that as well. Like, just as an example, it's a really like small example, but it's like deciding on everything. Like, yeah. We still both decide on big decisions. Like, that will never change. But yeah, it can be quite. I hate decision making. I like to just leave everything up to chance, but kind of have to get used to that whole decision making process. Yeah, it's not me, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, I think you do great. Talking back to one's dominant in a teasingly disobeying way should be part of the sub's fun. How do you feel about that? Because I know you've had bratty partners before, haven't you?
I hope none of my previous partners ever get to watch this, because I'm like, I don't think I'm talking mad smack right now. But bratty subs are so much hard work. It's really fun, like, don't get me wrong. And it's different, like, it would never work with you. Like, punishing you with like impact would never work.
It's a reward.
It's a reward. But in those situations, it can be hot and stuff, but it just doesn't fit within our dynamic. Like, yeah, it just wouldn't work. Yeah, I've had bratty partners in the past, and it's fun, and it has been fun, and I enjoy it. But it's hard work, and I very rarely refer to anybody as hard work. Yeah. But that is a lot of energy. I don't mind it. So, but with our dynamic, like day-to-day life, absolutely not. Yeah. Not a chance.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't happen. And I'm not like that at all. Would you say you're somewhere in the middle with that one? Yeah. Then? Yeah. For me, it's a total no. Like, I have loads of respect for brats. I love watching them work. It's so entertaining. But it's not for me. Like, I'm so service-oriented as a sub. Like, for me, the idea of not doing something I've been told to do, or doing something I've not been told to do, just feels so wrong. I'd be so uncomfortable. Before you even told me off, I'd be feeling like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so that was a fun test. This is a really good kind of basic one for, we used it in our initial negotiations. We shared our results at the time with each other, and that showed instantly how compatible we potentially would be. It can be a really good starting point for negotiation as well, because these are really broad categories. So something like 100% masochist doesn't mean that they're going to like every kind of pain you could be in and have no limits with how much. It just means they like a lot of pain. So that's a starting point to talk about what that looks like for them.
Yeah. I don't think mine have changed that much.
No, mine haven't changed a lot. I think the only one that I've noticed a big change, not big change, but a significant change in, is my slave percentage has gone up quite a bit. I don't personally like the word slave. I don't see myself ever like naming my role that. But I think as our dynamic has developed, it's started to move more from a typical DS dynamic where now it's got elements of MS in it as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably where my slave score has gone up now. I can't speak. So I think that's where my slave percentage has gone up a little bit now, where I am starting to find more kind of formal BDSM a little bit more appealing than I used to, where before I was very much too chaotic, I think, for it. I'm now starting to settle down into my role a little more, and that's where that's come from. I'll always consider myself a sub rather than a slave, but it is interesting to see that score coming up as I go deeper into my submission.
It is, yeah.
And then we will be moving on to our next test, which is the Big Kink survey. This one's looking at taboo scoring, so this is quite an interesting one.